Okay.
You're muted if you're talking.
Okay, I'm really sorry. My dog escaped, it seems. Can you all see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Fantastic. So this month we're going to be talking about incorporating STEM into your program. This is both Wendy and I will be presenting, and Wendy had collaborated with a man named Stephen Stanley, who was really behind kind of getting some of the STEM and NOVA programs kicked off in Alpine. So a lot of good information here. Then if you don't mind saluting or putting your hand over your heart for the anthem, it should play. Okay, so it sounds like people couldn't really hear that, and I do apologize for that. And then if people will please take themselves off mute so we can all say the Scout Oath together. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty
to God and my country,
and to obey
and
the
to
Scout
obey the
Law,
Scout Law, to help
other people at all times, myself
physically
strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. So I have to admit, I'm really guilty of thinking that's fantastic. It reminds me of the Hogwarts school song, which is basically, it's all the same words, but it's sang to any tune that you want. So that's what that reminds me of every time I hear it. Day camp registration is now open, as we talked about in the introduction. Resident camp registration is open. Friends of Scouting, if your campaigns aren't done for some reason, a really good time to ask is at your big spring camp out, if you're having one virtually or in person. On Facebook, we actually have a video by Kobe McKinnis, one of our DEs, who explains what Friends of Scouting is and everything, so you can just drop it in if it's a virtual event. The next district meeting will be May 6th. The next roundtable will be May 13th. And then, as always, I just have a link to the updated Scouting COVID national information. Does anyone have any questions or additional announcements? Okay. So April's safety moment is focused on swimming. I normally do these at the end, but I thought I'd put it up kind of while we all have our pens out and everything for announcements. Swimming is a key to the programs we offer, but it is not something that every Cub Scout has to be able to do yet. And for kids, you always want to say yet, right? They just haven't learned it yet. But we have age appropriate rank advancements that you can do the other requirements and still get that advancement, even if you can't swim. So the Scout can be working on swimming throughout their Cub Scouting career. So tigers have floats and boats, wolves have spirit of the water, bears have salmon run, and weeblos have octonauts. No, aquanauts. Octonauts is a totally different thing. So please make sure you're familiar with our advanced trainings such as safety afloat, safe swim, defense, and basically if you're swimming, it needs to be with lifeguards and all sorts of red tape, and then Chris can deal with that if you want to try to take that on. So what is STEM and why is it important? Aside from it being something that different Scouts might like, right? It's a necessary part of our program. It directly relates to the aims of Scouting. So the S is for science. I have here, starting at the top right is a trip to study the low tide at one of our camps. Then there's a habitat project, dying of eggs, National Park Service, who pairs up with the BSA, not officially, but the programs pair up really, really well. And then we have the eclipse, chemistry, volcano, a tree being observed over time, rockets, and nature observation, technology. If you catch me in the morning, I'm always still buffering. But, this can take on many forms. Engineering, again, that's going to be kind of structural things. What I have, the thing that says the White House is actually a Lego that was put together as part of a display a few years ago in Bellevue Shopping Center. And of course, we have the, I don't know what you call the L here, but we have that, and we have a bridge and all that other fun stuff. And then for math, I'm just gonna leave this up because there are a couple funny math jokes if you're a math person. Everyone get the invisible number joke? All right, Wendy, I'm gonna pass it over to you to discuss what the STEM and NOVA awards are, if that's okay.
Yep, that is just fine. Let me get ready here. All right, so the STEM and the NOVA Awards for Cub Scouts are actually kind of a cool award. There isn't any particular time frame they need to earn them in. Let me organize my thoughts here. So they are divided into several different general categories. The NOVA Awards are. There's science, technology, engineering, and math. And so the first one, and under each of those categories are different topics that the kids can explore. The first time they complete the requirements in one of those topics, they earn the very cool NOVA patch that you see. Thereafter, each time they complete a different topic in each of the different areas, they earn one of those pie pins. And then the Supernova Awards are they are bigger and grander, and they're a little more involved. Now, I'd just like to go over an example to kind of give you the feeling of what they're all about. They all follow the same format. So I'll be talking about uncovering the past, which might be a really nice companion for wolves digging in the past. So generally, the first thing the Cub Scouts have to do is to either read a book or watch an episode about the topic. And then they need to come up with a couple of questions or ideas from what they've read that they will then need to discuss with their NOVA counselor. Then there's typically, they also need to complete one of the belt loop adventures for their rank. So oddly enough, for this one, for the Wolf Scouts, it's collections and hobbies. For Bear Scout, it would be beat of the drum. Webelow Scouts would have several options: looking back, looking forward, project family. And then they get to do the cool, fun, hands-on activities. So one of the options for uncovering the past is to do a hot dog mummy. Basically, the kids get to try preserving a hot dog by using baking soda, which is very similar to the methods used by the Egyptians for creating mummies. Or they get to try and make a petroglyph. Let's see. Then they get to learn a little bit more about archaeology. For instance, they would go through a garbage bag to find out what artifacts people potentially in the future might find in the garbage, because as you probably know, archaeologists find interesting artifacts in the garbage dumps of days gone by. Typically, they also need to go on a field trip of some sort. In this case, that would be visiting a museum, or if they're lucky enough, to an actual dig. Once they've done all that, then they need to have a discussion with their counselor that kind of verifies that they've done everything and kind of wraps it all up in a tidy package. And then they would get their patch or pin. All right, is that kind of what you wanted me to cover, Kat?
Yes, sorry about that.
Okay.
That's perfect, thank you. So how do we help a pack incorporate STEM into their program? The first thing is parents need to participate. Parents have to lend a helping hand throughout Cub Scouting, and we all know that. But this is something that it's a little more in depth than your average adventure or belt loop. So it's a very rewarding thing to do. And the parents tend to enjoy watching the child kind of when the light bulb hits. So all it takes to get involved is the desire to help. You can go through whatever online training to become a counselor or mentor, and then you're listed in a list of STEM mentors that Scouts can call if they want to work on this part of the program. And the only other thing you would need would be completion of youth protection training. So everyone here probably has that training, but you might get like an auxiliary family person who wants to be involved in something like this, like a grandpa who was a chemist, or a brother-in-law who teaches science, and they're perfectly fine to bring in. Just make sure that they complete that youth protection training and the application. So you can read on your own about who can be mentors and counselors, and how much time it takes. But basically, we want to be obeying Scout policies in every way possible. So making sure that we're obeying 2 deep leadership, making sure people are actually registered, all of that is really, really important. How do I know if something is too dangerous? That old saying we all learned in Dare, when in doubt, throw it out. That applies to dangerous things too. So if a project is going to be dangerous, well, first we should be evaluating every project to make sure that it's going to be safe. We have that safe check start checklist that we've talked about in the past. And we want to be following all of those, but also use your common sense and kind of your gut thinking on that. Just don't run an activity if you think it might be dangerous, please, ever. And then most of the time, like I said, this is individual scouts wanting to pursue this outside of their organized den or pack, though sometimes a den will organize, or I know, golly, it was 2 or 3 summers ago, they had offered a couple STEM things that you could complete whilst at the resident camp overnight at Camp Edward. I don't know if they'll be doing that again, but it was really, really cool. And then how do we promote STEM activities? It's basically not a lecture, right? We promote STEM activities by doing STEM activities. We don't have to say, hey, this is a STEM activity to the kids. And we don't have to, make it very intense. We just need to make sure that it's there and it's something that the kids who are interested in not only can pursue deeper with these awards, but also is worked into your yearly programming, as a den leader, as a cub master, committee chair, whatever role you might have. A lot of good guest speakers for STEM, Reptile Man, Legos, robotics, things like that. How much does it cost to have a good STEM program? Not that much. It depends on how many scouts you have participating, how accessible you want your program to be. And again, if you're the cub master, or if you're the committee chair, you're not actually the one implementing this. You're finding the right leader to implement all of this. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I am not good at math, well, that's okay. You don't need to be good at math. You just need to be good at finding people, which you might notice is a common theme in scouting. Nothing is explicitly required that you have to buy, but PAC might, if they have additional funds or want to put it into their dues or however they want to do it, they can buy eye protection, gloves, and things like that can be used year to year. This year, obviously, please make sure you are wiping down things, and that's if you're even meeting in person. And then Wendy, I listed just a couple ideas here, but did you have more ideas to share?
Not really. I don't think I really want to take the time to go into more of them, but we will be posting them to the website afterwards, so you can look at all the great ideas that Stephen Stanley put together.
Okay. Are you looking at resources to consider? Or are you looking at
I
the
was looking
last
at
slide?
the previous page that you had shown.
Okay. I don't
The
know
purple.
why. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I had two versions of it open. That didn't make any sense. So yeah, things we've listed here. Paper airplanes. If you really get into paper airplanes, it is amazing what these scouts will invent and create, and you can run multiple iterations and things like that. Musical instruments I love because you can work science in with an additional humanity. We kind of want our scouts, for lack of a better term, to be Renaissance people, right? We want them to be really well-rounded and know a little bit about everything so that they know what they want to pursue in the future, right? So this list will again be listed on the website in the presentation. And this is just an amazing list of resources to consider. And again, this is a starting place. If you are passionate about any of these, or if you have a parent who is passionate about them, there are all sorts of ideas. You can go on Pinterest and Google, no, not Google, I guess search for, you know, STEM projects, experiments, things like that. And then you can choose ones for your den that you think might actually work, or you might add a few to your spring or fall camp out, or wherever you kind of want to have STEM. And a reminder, do highlight that you participate with STEM exercises and activities for recruitment, because, you know, one kid's outdoors is another kid's science, is another kid's technology. Scouting STEM program follows the EDGE method, and we've talked about this in the past, but I'm not sure that people necessarily remember. What it is you explain what's happening, or what's going to happen, or whatever the task set before you is. And then you also demonstrate while you're explaining. Then following that is the guidance and enabling. So guidance is just kind of, you have a parent kind of checking in, making sure that the child's staying on track, or excuse me. Yeah, and then we enable the scouts by making sure that they can do it on their own. Again, this is kind of where the educational principle of scaffolding comes in. So if you think about what a scaffold is it holds the wall up in incremental stages almost, when you think about the triangle it makes, right? And so that's what we want to do. We want to give them a very broad base and then scaffold them up so that at the point, that's where they are enabling. And, you know, going up the angle would be the explaining and demonstrating and guiding. So that is the method that is going to be most often used. And a lot of these programs are going to be run by the older scouts, because it's often a requirement for them to teach the younger scouts the skills, and so it works out pretty perfectly for everybody. Um, they learn about careers, fields of study, and then also the appreciation of the STEM fields. Like I said, not every kid's gonna love STEM, but at least they're exposed to it and they understand the basic principles of it. Um, the scientific method is something that we probably do 10 times a day without even thinking about. And that's because we all learned and had it reiterated to us when we were young, similar to these scouts. And it's important for critical thinking. And then also, some of the experiments are super cool. So, despite the fact that the program's only open to scouts in BSA, including parents and siblings can make the activities way more fun, way more competitive, way more inclusive. Um, as we talked about, every level has its own type of requirements, and there are a lot of ways to integrate it in your program, whether that's through those pack meetings, through the campouts, through den meetings, or field trips. And then this is just a list. What types of things do the scouts do? Conduct experiments, design or build simple to complex machines, coding, make and decipher secret messages, investigate orbital mechanics, build rockets, boats, cars, study the environment and nature, animals, plants, make volcanoes, study weather and geology. We're really blessed to be so close to the mountain here. Collect rocks and fossils, design and build a marble roller coaster, learn about people who are famous within the profession of STEM. So when you think about those things, that's going to catch a kid's attention very much in the same way as hiking and camping and the outdoor program will. Wendy, did you have anything else?
I did have one couple of comments. A few years ago at Roundtable, I invited a Cub Master from a pack to come and talk about his pack's experience with the NOVA program. And what he had done is he had taken a survey of Webelos to find out who was interested in earning their NOVA award. And then he held an additional meeting in his garage, and they went through various NOVA activities so the kids could earn their NOVA award, which he presented at Pack Night. Initially, he only offered it to the Webelos because it was the first time he'd done it. He didn't know how involved it was going to be, how well received it was going to be, but the Webelos got really excited about it. And then, of course, once the other scouts saw the cool awards that the Webelos got, then many more wanted to participate. And so the next year he opened it up to the other scouts. I would also have one more thought in that if you're doing any engineering projects, that is, if you're building things, a lot of the value in those projects comes as the kids tinker with their creations to try and make them better. So, and that's where the real value of the learning is, because you do it the first time, you say, oh, well, how do I make it better? How do I make this car roll with less friction? Or how do I make this tall building withstand the earthquake better? Do I need to make a wider base? Do I need to make more internal structure? And so as they do repeated iterations, and that's when they can really learn and dig in and just learn a whole lot more. I did have a question for Chris. I'm wondering what resources are available at the council level with regards to STEM.
I'm sorry, I was working on a camp thing. Resources on STEM available from the council in regards to?
For instance, I think I heard rumors that there were STEM online STEM classes being offered that kids could sign up for through a particular district that was open to the entire council?
Yeah, I know Ash Hennessy is a Nova counselor and has been offering some classes. Sylvia might be a little bit more aware because I know we had a number of individuals from PAC 551 recently earn their Nova, or was it even Supernova awards from one of those classes. Sylvia?
Yeah, hello. I know that not not everybody is, I mean, I think it's really on a volunteering base that not every parent or not every child is doing this in our PEG, so far I know. And I know from my one of my friends, both kids are doing the STEM program, and the kids, they love it. And so what was the question again, Wendy?
I'm just interested in what resources there are at the council level for Scouts. And I know that the council was putting some online like den meetings together. And I wondered if they've done any STEM related den meetings as well as this Nova online class.
So nothing really council wide, but there are a number of Nova counselors out in the council. It's just kind of like it's like a merit badge counselor position, right? Where you can sign up to take Nova courses with a volunteer to go through the requirements. And I just I know in particular one individual had been doing it because I met them at the last council coordinated membership breakout, and they were talking about it. And then lo and behold, like a month later, we had a number of individuals from PAC 551 get their Supernova awards with Ash's signature on it on the application. So I think you can find those through the Scout book. You can find local Nova counselors in your area and then reach out to them.
Yeah, and also our PEG is that I just received a PEG email from I think our Scoutmaster that you still can attend those events. Yeah, I don't know really who's sending out those emails from our PEG. We just switched to that 551. So yeah, we're getting regular, I think, emails from Nova to sign up for events or some classes, online classes. And I believe they meet every Friday afternoon so far, I know. Yeah. Well, our PEG is also meeting at Margaret Mead, and Margaret Mead, I don't know if you're familiar with Margaret Mead. Margaret Mead is a STEM, they have a STEM program there. So the kids going to PEG 551, they're kind of into the whole STEM, maybe a little more than other kids. I'm not sure. It's just like we have that program at school, and also we meet at that school. Maybe that's why we have a few more kids from our PEG attending Nova activities. I'm not sure. Just a thought from me.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Sylvia. That was really great to hear about that.
Yeah, that was wonderful, Sylvia. Michael, are you there?
I am here, yes.
So I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm really sorry.
Nope, all good.
Michael is from PAC 682, and he's just kind of gotten into leading, but he runs a robotics club. Is that correct?
That's right. I run the robotics program at Endeavor Elementary.
There we go. Thank you. So I was wondering if you might have tips and tricks for teaching this type of material to youth at all?
Yeah. It, so let me start, I would say, at the beginning. We have done, and this is kind of hedging on what you asked, and I just want to explain a little bit. We've done a couple of STEM programs with our kids already. There's, if you guys are aware of like little hex bugs, they're basically like little robots that kids kind of put together in groups and they battle. Actually, Chris McNeil was at our meeting that we built these at to talk about Friends of Scouting. But it was one of those things that, and I'm saying this to just kind of, I think, re-emphasize some of what you guys have said tonight. It was very interesting to see. We built the little toothbrush robots. We took all the pieces. We kind of did all the prep work, put it all in a bag, and let all the kids pick it up from their den leaders. And then we built the robots together. And what was really interesting was to see the kids, kind of the lights go on, and them try to see what else they could do with it. And we actually had 2 kids who tried to turn theirs into electric toothbrushes. And so that they took the little motor assembly and the batteries, and the motor assembly is just the vibrator from like a cell phone or a pager, a little like 3-volt vibrator. And so they would put that thing and they jammed it on their toothbrushes and they actually tried to see if it would work. And so the kids had a lot of fun going through this and doing kind of as you were talking about, the scientific method, right? What works, what didn't work, what failed. Next week, actually, we're doing a robotics build with our wolves. And one of the things that, as you mentioned, I am very lucky. I happen to have a set of Lego robotics in my garage. Well, I have more than one, but that's because I run it for the Endeavor the Endeavor school system. I would say the kids today are really, really good at figuring stuff out, right? They grew up with technology in ways that we didn't. And sadly, some kids have probably seen their parents' cell phone more than they've seen of their parents over time. But the kids really are adept and attuned to kind of soaking in the information. And one of the things that I do with kids when I'm kind of going through the robotics piece is I have them act it out and have them say the words, right? Because in programming, one of the things that is very important is kind of what is your control, right? I don't know who here else programs besides me, but hey, if this happens, then this happens, right? Things like that. And if you can get the kids and just kind of talk them through it, and it's almost like a game of Simon Says, right? Where you'll say, hey, walk until you touch this line, right? And you have to say out loud everything that you're doing. Those are the sorts of things that really help the kids' brains kind of engage and kind of work through the problems. And then, of course, just turn them loose. They will try, they will fail. The biggest thing in many of these cases is keeping the kids on track. I have had one kid who I had in robotics for, I think, 4 years. And he would always come up to me with like this gigantic, genius, brilliant idea. And I would look at him, I'm like, dude, we have 2 hours every week, and I'm pretty sure that's going to work, but that is going to take you more than a year to do with the constraints we have, right? So there's a lot of, squirrel sort of stuff going on with the kids and what keeps them interested. And so, really knowing your kids and managing the personalities, I think is a very important piece. And we just had somebody else join in, so maybe I should be done.
No, please.
Okay.
If you have more to share, please do.
Well,
Eric, welcome to our meeting.
No, so I guess the big thing is just let them try, let them fail, let them succeed, ask questions, and then understand, right? But one of the things that's really and this is maybe beyond the scope of the question you asked, but I think that there's a lot of really fun things that can be done and you guys kind of hit on some of the list, but we are really, really lucky in that the area we live here, and this is beyond just the scope of robotics, but there are some really interesting things that you can do with kids, right? Like if you guys know how, and it depends on what your budget is, but there's some really fun things like, we did the toothbrush robots, and if you just search online, there's a Cub Scout Ideas is where that one came from. But there's also Scratch, which is an online coding thing, and it's drag and drop programming, which works really well for kids of all ages. My oldest, when he was 3, I actually had him, we talked through it, and he was able to write a program and make it work.
Yeah, I second that one. That's a good starter.
Yeah, Scratch is a really interesting one. If you have kids, the concept of something even as simple as, when you go camping, right? You've got a flashlight. Flashlights obviously run on electricity, but there's a different type that everybody else probably has in their home, which is a wind up or a shake light, right? And those are things that work on Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, right? And it takes basically about $1 worth of parts and a very strong magnet, and the magnet is the expensive part. But that's something that would be a lot of fun. You could maybe even make it together and have the kids bring it to a camp out. And if you actually put a capacitor on there, they could shake it long enough that they would actually have some electricity for a little bit of time. And there's even YouTube videos and things like that would show up online that you can use for that. And I'm going to plug this one. This will be the last thing I say. But there are some really, really interesting ideas. I think we've talked about this one in our pack, but I think there's some interesting ideas available to scouts if they have interest in like geology and the earth science thing. Yes. Bureau of Land Management in the state of Washington actually allows rock hounding on their properties. And so what that means is you could actually take your kids out and you could help them find petrified wood or something like that. Those are opportunities that are available. You just have to know where to look. And I'm positive that there is a rock club somewhere near anybody who would find a volunteer that would come do it. And the best site in the entire state of Washington, it's a long drive from here. It's up in Republic. It's the Stone Rose Interpretive Center. You can go up there and you can do a fossil dig and you get to keep 3 items. And it's about $8 to dig. And that is obviously probably a tie into a look to the past or whatever the Cub Scout one is. But those are fantastic things, and all kids really enjoy digging up something and being the first person, literally the first human being to see it ever, right?
That's amazing.
So that's it. I'm done. I've preached enough.
Well, so I want to thank you very, very much. Michael had no idea I was going to put him on the spot like that. So his wisdom is true and honest, and I agree with a lot of the things you were saying. We also have a geologist in our district named Carol awesome. Cordry. She is, well, she's a busy woman, but she's typically very willing to come in and help scouts understand geological principles and things like that. The Burke Museum also has the boxes and other things, and yes, that does look like a fun activity, actually. But so I think one of the most important things you said was allow the kids to fail, right? We call it failing forward, right? It's a safe place. And so if the scout wants to try something and it's not going to work, well, you have however many years of life experience more than this child. Let the child find out why it doesn't work. Some kids need to to see it fail and to understand why it doesn't work or things like that. So I thought that was really, really great advice. We're blessed that we have some experienced leaders with us. Joaquin, or do you have anything that you want to share that your pack does, or maybe some favorites from the past couple of years?
So on my pack, I would say I was fortunate that I ran into something you commented earlier, that Camp Master should not be involved in managing this. You should want to find someone else who is your science person that helps drive these STEM programs. And luckily we have one person. Coincidentally, his name is Michael too. And he has been, I think he's registered as a NOAA counselor. And he has been helping our entire pack with the NOAA awards. And he even helps a couple of our scouts with the Supernova awards. So, I mean, I think he will be a better person to talk about what we do, but he organizes things, right? So for example, this year throughout the pack meetings, he was sure to invite guest speakers that will introduce the kids to some science topics. And he always tries to drive the conversation so that as many scouts from different dens as possible can benefit, right? So whatever activity we do counts for multiple NOVA qualifying activities for different den levels. You get what I say? Does it make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, that's been very good. Unfortunately, we will have to be better about getting the den leaders to follow through with that and get their scouts to complete their NOAA awards. But we have had many scouts get their NOAA award and even one that got a Supernova last year.
That's awesome.
The Supernova is pretty impressive, actually. Good for him or her.
Yeah, he spent like a half a year working on that. His topic was on on biology, on the assessing the different conditions for plants to grow and how different varieties of a plant can survive different type of environments. The whole like little mini greenhouse setup at his home that he was cultivating for, I think, 5 months. He did that. So that was his Supernova project. That's pretty cool. We have another one who's working on his Supernova right now at Weevilloons, and I think he's halfway through. It's probably gonna spill over into next year. But yes, so definitely having someone who in the pack who will take charge of that and be like the STEM person, that helps a lot. And because it will be too much for someone who has to be also the Cup Master or the Den Leader and do both.
Yeah, and we all know, a super scouter that can hold multiple roles, and I don't want to take away from them, but you're absolutely right. Having someone who's dedicated to keeping those records and making sure those things are being offered and making sure families are being connected with the mentors and everything just facilitates the program in a way that you almost can't when you're worrying about your whole like annual program planning, right?
Yeah, the other thing that our Michael identified was that for many of the Supernova, for many of the NOVA awards, there's usually a requirement of one of the adventures in the regular Scout program, but some of the other requirements can also be fulfilled by other optional adventures in the program. So trying to identify what combination of 2 or 3 adventures help fulfill most of the NOAA award and then encourage the Den leaders to incorporate that into their annual program. That helps because then all the scouters are doing it together, and you can have like a whole class of NOVA recipients.
For sure. And kind of like I was saying earlier, if you want to see a stronger district level program, but we once had it, and you know, if you're the person who has that energy, speak with Chris McNeil, please. And he will be able to kind of put you on that team of people who work on this. And then if you don't have quite that level of time, you can always volunteer within your pack, as you're saying. Sylvia, do you have anything to add? I don't want to skip over you.
Not really, no. No, thanks for asking. No, not right now. Thanks.
Okay, great.
Kat, is it recommended that each pack have a NOVA counselor on staff? I think it kind of comes down to what kids' interests are, but is that kind of like a general rule of thumb that we should be aiming for, is to have one on staff at all time?
So I'm going to give you a very physics answer, which is, in a perfect scouting world, we would absolutely have individuals, you know, for those things.
Okay.
We are volunteer run all the way, you know, up through council. So a lot of times, you know, someone like you who has experience in this field, for example, you might say, hey, I can't take on the leading part, but I can supply, you know, some experiments for you to share, or things like that. You could participate on a team without yes, it could very well be a committee position, I guess, is
okay
the short to the point answer.
Got it. Thanks.
I wanted to point out that there's a distinction. There are two different positions. One is the NOVA counselor, and then there's a supernova mentor. Those are two different positions.
Yes, sir.
And the NOVA counselor is more, I would say, lightweight, in the sense that any parent willing to spend the time can easily become a NOVA counselor and help the scouts complete those requirements. For the supernova mentor, they have a bit more, I don't think they're too strict, but it's a bit more strict. You have to show a bit of expertise in the area that you're mentoring. I think it's more along the lines of, you know, merit badge counselors type of thing.
So yeah, every pack kind of runs it in their own way. Like I said, it would be absolutely appropriate for it to be a committee position, as well as, you know, if you can't even commit to that, then even just helping your local den leader is very often helped, as I'm sure you all know. I am done with that portion of everything. Does anyone else have anything to add in? I just have a couple other points after. Okay, so if you are interested in helping with Roundtable next year, I would absolutely love to have a conversation with you. Would you please let me or Wendy know? Or again, you can speak with Chris McNeil. We do have some positions in the Roundtable realm. And if you're interested in helping, I would genuinely love to talk to you, and I would be completely honest in my assessment. I think most people here can attest to. I want to make sure, oh, so next April, Eric, is this still on? We're gonna do some membership updates.
Yeah, the plan is to have next month a bit more membership updates. If we wanted to do a combined session with something else, I don't know if I'll have enough to fill the entire time slot. So I'm happy to share it if you want to do another topic as well that can fill the rest of it.
Perfect, thank you. So for those of you who don't know, Eric is our new membership chair. He was announced about a month ago, I think, and I think you were all there, but we're also going to just do a check-in on your annual planning, make sure your pack is having annual planning, making sure that you know where you are in the process. And then it should time permit, I actually just took an interesting course on planning advancement for scouts with special needs. So I'm going to kind of can some of that material and share that with you in whatever time we have remaining. The following month will be Alpine Awards. So that will be kind of the last informational month of the year until August. So if anyone has any other issues they want to discuss right now, I'm done with my portion of the meeting. My minute at the end is just hang in there. We are so close to getting so many people vaccinated, and yes, we still have to wear the masks and everything, but you guys have hung in there this whole time. You guys have kept scouting going, genuinely had been like at the heart of keeping it going. And I just hope that you have a lot of respect for yourselves when you look in the mirror and know that you have been the heart of scouting in Alpine, and I appreciate all of your efforts.
I don't know if this is a bit different topic. Happy to share one thing I learned, and I don't know if this was already maybe mentioned earlier in the breakout session. I joined a national membership and marketing webinar they held Wednesday evening. And there is a new change coming into MyDOT scouting for the CORs that they can actually
That's charter org representatives.
Yeah, charter org representative, thank you. And we can, they will actually be able to designate a new scoutmaster in the actual MyDOT scouting platform. If there's or not scoutmaster, sorry, cub master. This could also apply for Scouts BSA, but the COR will be able to change that if there is a change without having to file paperwork. So it's basically making it more automated for the charter org rep to make that change and not have to add a bunch more layers with council involved.
They also mentioned something that charter org representatives can also designate delegates now that can go in and approve adult applications, which I thought was very exciting.
Yeah. So if you have a really good charter org rep that at least keeps the organization tied to your charter, your unit tied to the charter, but maybe wants to hand over some of the administrative duties to a delegate, it's a great way for there to be a more shared effort for that individual. And that particular feature that Chris mentioned is already available. The newer feature to allow for avoid not going through the paperwork process for any leadership changes in your unit. That I don't have a date for, but I believe it's at the very least, it's going to be at the beginning of next month at the latest, I believe.
And does anyone else have anything to either share, pass on. Eric and I both went to the Commissioner of College Science this past, what was it, Saturday, Sunday? I
Yeah.
don't even remember.
That Saturday and Wednesday too. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so that was something that Eric was actually able to, he was taking courses for fun. And in the course of the 3 days between talking to me and some other people, he realized he was earning his Bachelor of Commissioner Science. So those are excellent opportunities to learn more about scouting and how we can help and how we can be better leaders and all of those things. And you can also train to be a commissioner by taking training such as the all-day commissioner college we took. I know Connecticut Rivers Council is hosting one, and then there are going to be, I think, 5 courses offered this Saturday for the Area 1 Commissioner College. So even if you aren't yet a commissioner, if you have like a lot of experience and your name's Joaquin, you might want to look into that. All right, well, I'll be here for a couple minutes in case anyone does have any questions. Otherwise, enjoy your Aprils. I hope that you work STEM into your programs, and I hope that we see you on the 13th of May.
Thanks, Kat.
Thank you.
Thank you.